Eliza Cross was burying the last of the season's carrots behind her log cabin when the woods exhaled something impossible. Out of a split green corridor rode a speckled stallion the color of moonwash, unbridled and unhurried. Atop its back balanced a barefoot child, hair in thorny knots, skin streaked with earth as if the forest itself had sculpted her. The girl was no more than 10, yet she sat the horse without rope or saddle, knees tucked firm against the animal's ribs. Eliza's axe slipped from her palm, thudding into loam. "You from the valley towns?" she called, voice steady though her heart stammered. The child stared, owl still, neither shy nor bold, simply present. "Do you need food?" Eliza tried again. The girl slid to the ground in one fluid motion, crossed the yard, and perched on the porch rail as though it were grown for her. No name, no explanation, only the horse remained at the gate, eyes sharp enough to read a soul. That night Eliza left a quilt and a tin of hot biscuits on the stoop. Dawn found the blanket wrapped tight around small shoulders, the tin licked clean, and ghost-white hoof prints circling the house like silent vows. Days unfurled in wary rhythm. The child wordless drew looping signs in dust behind the smokehouse, spirals threaded with arrows that pointed nowhere. Eliza recognized every chore Eliza performed: chopping, milking, mending. She felt the girl's gaze, measuring but not judging. On the third morning, Eliza found a braid of river grass draped over her doorstep like an unspoken thank you. Still, the girl offered no history. Instead, she brushed the stallion Ghostwind. Eliza secretly named him in long, entranced passes, whispering to him in a cadence richer than any language books carried. When Eliza finally asked, "Who showed you to ride that way?" the girl answered in a whisper so thin it might have been breeze, "My first sunrise." It was the only phrase she spoke all week, but it wrung something open in Eliza that grief had padlocked years before. Twilight of the fifth day brought disquiet. Eliza, lantern in hand, discovered stone cairns newly stacked in the clearing. 12 small towers forming a ring, each crowned with a charcoal feather. In their center the girl stood on Ghostwind's bare back, arms raised as if welcoming something older than night. "Child, what game is this?" Eliza asked, but the only reply was the hush of pines. Just before dawn the cairns had shifted themselves into a perfect arrow aimed south. The girl finally spoke. "They have to see I'm alive." Her voice carried neither dread nor hope, only certainty. Eliza did not sleep after that. The woods suddenly felt full of eyes that wore no bodies. Eliza was splitting kindling when Ghostwind's ears flicked. Tense. From the timberline stepped a figure tall as a birch, face traced with ash-gray bars. He carried no rifle, only an unstrung bow. The girl froze, but the stallion moved between her and the stranger as though shields grew from muscle. Eliza raised her hatchet. "She's under my roof," she warned. The man lifted an open hand, neither threatening nor pleading. Then, as silently as he arrived, he melted back into the trees. The girl exhaled one syllable: "Watcher." That night, a red-threaded charm of coyote bone was left on the porch rail, too deliberate for accident, too recent for comfort. When Eliza bathed the girl's back by lamplight, she saw it, a scar like lightning, running shoulder to spine, ugly, healed, unforgettable. No accident did that. Eliza's pulse throbbed with questions, but the girl only said, "They stamped me so I wouldn't forget the trade." A chill worse than prairie blizzard settled in Eliza's bones. She realized the child had not strayed but escaped, and someone out there still believed they owned her breath. Eliza ground her last coffee beans that evening, poured 2 mugs, and set them side by side on the stoop, an oath that no one would take the girl again while Eliza's lungs still worked. Smoke crawled over the crest a week later, thin but crimson at its edges, the kind that follows raiders, not campfires. The girl's fingers clenched the barn door. "They mark the bark red when they hunt," she whispered, voice brittle. She started for the woods, intention clear, surrender herself to spare the house. Eliza barred the gate. "You leave, smoke wins. Stay, and we stand to against many." Through the night they kept vigil, Eliza on the porch with her late husband's rifle, the girl in the barn loft with a knife shorter than her resolve. No riders came. Dawn broke gentle, painting everything honey gold. For the first time the girl asked, Do I earn a name here? Eliza smiled through exhaustion. If you want one. The girl nodded once. Then call me Rowan for the tree that bends but will not snap. The next moon delivered a rider from the southern. Mace's braids tied with copper beads. Eyes that carried storms. He dismounted without flourish and bowed to Rowan. I followed footprints of a girl who rides without reins. He said softly, your mother called me Crowrunner. I promised her I'd find you. Rowan's breath hitched, but she did not step back. Eliza asked the question for her. What do you want now? Crowrunner laid a painted bead on the threshold. Only choice. I camp by Silver River. If she rides to me, I'll guide her to the people who remember her songs. If she stays, I fade like deer track in rain. He left before dusk, never glancing over his shoulder. Rowan spent that night tracing Eliza's weather map with her finger, measuring the distance between cabin and river, between past and possible. At sunrise, Ghostwind stamped, eager. Rowan emerged in Eliza's spare boots, braid newly tied, shoulders square. Home isn't walls, she said. It's the hands that lift you when you fall. You gave me that. Now I need to know the rest of my story. Eliza swallowed the ache. Ride, Rowan, and if the trail loops back, my fire will still be lit. Rowan swung onto Ghostwind. At the gate she twisted in the saddle. I carry two names now, one from you, one waiting by the river. I'll keep them both. Then horse and rider slipped into the dewy hush, leaving hoofbeats like fading drumbeats. Weeks later, campfires south of Silver River flared in celebration. A child returned not as lost kin, but as self-named Storm. And every season after, a speckled stallion appeared at Eliza's fence, saddle laden with gifts, beaded medicine bags, bone spoons carved with twin initials, and letters that always ended the same. Tell the ones who listen to like, share, and subscribe for more tales where bravery finds its voice.